Okay, it's working. Good. Before we begin with the morning session, I'd like to just quickly introduce to you the prostration. What is prostration? And the number one, why do we do the prostrations? And then number two, the how to do. The first, why we do. In fact, what I would say is that there are many who are newly connected with Dharma, and there are some who are very young, although being born in Buddhist family, but not being really exposed. They say, what are these things? You just do it as a part of the ritual. And so we need to know. So whatever, particularly, I would say that, particularly coming from the Nalanda tradition, and of course what the Buddha taught, as the Buddha very clearly indicated, the bhikshus and the wise people, just as goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing and burning the gold, you should also examine my words and put them to practice, not simply because you respect me. So whatever the Buddha taught is extremely, extremely rational, particularly when you learn the Nalanda, the teachings, the commentaries by the Nalanda great masters. You will come to truly admire the Buddha's teachings, which can be seen from two different lenses, from the lens of the spirituality, from the lens of the secularism. In the lens, from this, let's say, the spirituality, we see that whatever we do, they're all related to your attaining fearlessness and infinite happiness. Through the lens of the secularism, in the secular context, we see that all the mundane activities related, you apply what the Buddha taught, psychology, the philosophy, we see that the whole, the concept that we learn are related to the mundane world, like physics, mathematics, environment, ecology, whatever. We see that they make total sense and they become extremely meaningful. So with this in mind, whatever we do, in other words, whatever we do related to Buddhism, there's always some reasons, significance, logic behind that, and we must know that. But when I say that whatever you find Buddhism, particularly because that Buddhism originally taught by the Buddha, later on his heirs, Buddha's heirs, they inherited them, passed down to the next the generation, still to the next generation, and so forth. And in the process, the people who are the inheritors of this tradition, they're not really perfect. It's not that everyone in the line who inherit these the teachings, they are not perfect. Because these are imperfect, Buddha's teachings are required. So imperfect means some people, they could not understand what the Buddha taught, and simply because this is what was taught and this is what was done by the previous generation, so we have to do that. Just as of the continuation of the lineage or continuation of the tradition, people do that without knowing the reason. Then it turns into blind faith. So whereas, with the advent of the Nalanda tradition, meaning since 1st century AD, Arya-Nagarjuna and so forth, then the corpus of teachings on the Mahayana section came into existence, which also was taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni himself. And then this tradition, incorporates a very rich system of logic, epistemology, and psychology, and then the philosophy, because of which they say there's no room for blind faith. But if you don't really delve into these parts, then naturally you do see that even in the Tibetan Buddhism, we see people If you ask, why do you have to make prostrations? What's the reason? And so forth, they have no answer. So they just follow blindly. Not that everybody in a particular tradition should be smart. There are some very smart, some less smart, some mediocre. So our job is try best to know the reasons why we are doing this. Okay, first being prostrations. The first thing that we do, usually for the other retreats, we come we come together at 5:45, which means 5:45 we come here. And the first thing that we do is that we make prostrations for about 5 minutes, followed by offering the lights, and then sitting, do the prayers, then meditation, and so forth. And the first thing we do the prostrations. Why do we do prostrations, and what is the procedure? Why do we do that? In the first place, what is prostration? Prostration is a mental, respect, a respect for the objects to whom you make prostrations, to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, is a gesture of respect. And why do you have to respect them? And why do you have to respect them? So respect is the first entrance. First entrance, the respect is the first door to the receptivity. Receptivity. Respect is admiration. So when I admire the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, it opens the door. It makes you receptive to learn what they have to teach us. For example, like say the young boys, I don't know whether they are here, the young boys who are, let's say that, who are more into football. I'm sure that many of the young boys, they have the Messi's big posters on the walls, I'm sure. This is admiration. And then they watch the Messi's, the skills so closely, and they try to mimic. In the process of mimicking, they learn these skills. So, say making prostration, it is showing respect. Respect means you respect somebody who you see qualities in them. If you don't see qualities, you see that, initially I have so much respect, now I lost my respect completely. Which means that I don't really see the qualities. So seeing the qualities draw the respect within you. So that seeing the qualities and respecting, that opens the receptivity to the good qualities the Buddhas Bodhisattvas have for you to learn from. So, and this is so important. And where there is a passion, the greatest learning takes place. Where there's no passion, the learning will not take place. It's force. By force, it never happens. Okay, so making prostration is showing respect out of admiration in the qualities of Buddhas Bodhisattvas. And why do we have to do this every now and then? So it's like depositing money in the bank. You deposit money in the bank once, that's not sufficient. You have to do it very often. Very often you have to deposit. The more you deposit, the richer you become. So more the prostrations, more the respect, more the receptivity, more the qualities continue to be showered on you. You learn. The more you learn, you become richer in your spiritual values. So this whole purpose, being prostration. Now what's the procedure? How do we go about doing it? And they say this tradition came from different worlds, different parts of the world. In India, there are many traditions. Some they touch their feet, some they just lie down fully. The olden traditions lie down fully to surrender, to show respect. And then in Chinese tradition, you just kneel down and then put your hands down, touch your, and then there's one, and then likewise the Burmese, and then in the West, just bending your knee down a little bit and kissing the hand of the other person. And so there are so many versions which are correct. All are correct, as long as the respect is going in, respect is being born within you. Respect increases within you. Admiration increases within you. All are correct. Okay. So the Tibetan traditions, it's not that when you do the Tibetan tradition or all the others, they are not really the original ones. No, all are original. All are perfect. Nothing wrong. And the best would be if you can learn all these different traditions, and then when you are in a particular place, in say the Taiwanese place, you do the prostration according to the Taiwanese tradition. Or you want to do the Tibetan tradition, you do it. And at the other side will see that, okay, this person has shown respect. So this is the point. So in the Tibetan tradition, which also inherited from India, and maybe also mixed up with the ancient Tibetan cultures, pre-Buddhism in Tibet. Now the thing is that the two thumbs inside and then the two hands folded. So this is the gesture. Do it. And by the way, I would say on one hand I really admire. On the other hand, it may be too much. Say, the Tibetans, in fact, I would say that Tibetans are extremely loyal to the original source, India. When they're dedicated to his Dharma, so much that you look at Tibet, what is Tibet? It's all about monasteries. It's all about the altar. It's all about the musical instrument of the rituals. They are so well ornamented. What about the bank? No bank. What about the basic infrastructure of the red lights, the street lights and so forth? No, nothing. Everything spiritual, everything spiritual. So I would say that as a nation, we should have both. Without this, anybody can attack you anytime. So this is what happened. Tibet finished. Because so much into this and it neglected the other side. This is the problem. So Ukraine. So why this annexation happened? Because one side is weak, and the stronger one, with the kind heart like His Holiness Dalai Lama, will never attack you. But it's not that all the leaders will be like His Holiness Dalai Lama, right? Some insane person can come as a leader. Anytime that happens, your country is gone, your nation is gone, the light is gone. So therefore, this is where I see that the balance is required for a nation. For an individual, it's your choice. For a nation, we should have had balance. Balance meaning that should be rich in both sides, not half-half. Rich in both sides, spirituality as well as the mundane administration. Both are required. Okay, so in Tibet, everything was focused on the spirituality. Everything. See, where the gold? Gold are all in the monasteries, on the altars. Whatever diamonds and so forth, they're all in the monasteries, on the altars. And what about the basic infrastructure of the nation? The road and so forth, nothing. So this is a big negligence. In a way, it's a great piety. As a nation, we really need to have the both sides. Okay, so what I'm saying is that sometimes people are so particular, for example, like offering the water balls, you should do like this incense inside to make it clean, too much. And they're too like, from right side, not left side. Too much. Finally, the point is that don't waste your time too much like this. And by the time you sit, you meditate, you'll fall asleep. And the actual practice can be done. So what in the past Indians did, do that. Don't elaborate too much. Tibetans elaborate too much. But sometimes elaborations, when they are done by the brilliant masters, they are very sensible. So like prostrations, they stand together. This is symbolic of this is symbolic of the gem. Symbol of the gem. Gem, we talked about the method and the wisdom. The method, the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the greatest of the gem. Not the wisdom of emptiness. Bodhicitta is the greatest of the gem. Why? Gem means to benefit others. Where there's compassion, bodhicitta, this person can be of greatest benefit to others. When the compassion is missing, even if you have trillions of dollars in the bank deposit, it will not really reach out to the poor people. But the compassion is there, even if it's just 10,000 rupees, it will go out to the poor people. So this is gem, benefit. So this is symbolic of a gem, which Aravalokiteshvara holds, say Aravalokiteshvara depicted with the two hands, and inside you see a gem there. So this is symbolic of the gem, bodhicitta, the method, bodhicitta. And then inside is holo, symbolizing emptiness, wisdom of emptiness. So with this gesture, we see the combination of two things. This, I really like this symbolism. Otherwise, it's too many details. I don't really, go into the essence rather than go into the just beating around the bush. This is so beautiful. So this hand, then what you do is that you touch with this, touch the forehead. There are several ways of doing it. One way of doing this is forehead, then the crown, forehead, throat, and the heart. These four positions. Or, if you want to do three, it's also fine. The crown or the forehead, whichever of the two, and then the throat and the heart. So why these four are the positions? Because there are these four positions, crown, forehead, throat, and heart. They are extremely important spots within the body. The crown, this is symbolic of this is, when you become a Buddha, you're going to have the crown. And this crown, for a Buddha, is the place from which innumerable manifestations are being created through this crown. So it has so much of, say, like the hub of creating benefit for the beings, the crown. Then the forehead. Forehead is considered extremely important. That with the forehead there is there's hair there, hair, which is the curled in the clockwise direction. So this forehead, the Indians, the girls, they used to put this red bindu, red mark there. So this mark of beauty. So for the Buddhas, from this, all the bodhisattvas on the level of the 10 bhumi, bodhisattvas, they are being empowered to become Buddha through this forehead. They're being empowered. When you become a Buddha, through your forehead, you then empower the bodhisattvas on the high level, 10 level, to become Buddhas. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama give empowerments. So likewise, they empower. So you can empower others. And when you touch this, if you're being mindful, if you're being aware, if you're being mindful, okay, now this spot is being activated. When I become Buddha, this forehead part will be attained to empower then the 10 level bodhisattvas to become Buddhas. Then of course the throat. Throat symbolizing the speech. This is also the speech. And of all the activities of the Buddhas, the activity of the speech is the supreme. Of all the activities of the Buddhas, activity of the speech is supreme. And this speech is happening from the throat. So therefore, when you touch the throat, it is activating the speech of the Buddhas. And why the speech of the Buddha is the supreme of all the activities is that finally the Buddha's activities, supreme, not supreme, is determined by how the beings are benefited. And the beings, let's say that even if His Holiness the Dalai Lama, suddenly in public, he levitates in the air for like 2 meters up, 100%, there's going to be a whole traffic jam the next day. Traffic jam, people will flock from everywhere in the world. Flock there, and the BBC, CNN, everybody will come there. And then what do these millions, billions of people get after seeing the His Holiness levitate in the air? Everybody will get, wow. Right? What is this wow? Why will not change you anything? Right? And then you leave. What did you get? You get nothing. But He's going to teach us on emptiness. He's going to teach us compassion. Be kind. If you want to be selfish, be wisely selfish. When He teaches this, you take this message with you. These messages help you, transform you. So what really transforms you, what really helps you is His Holiness's teachings, the wisdom shared by His Holiness. This wisdom is shared through speech. So speech is supreme of all the activities, all the deeds of the Buddha's speech. Then next is the heart. This heart, why this is important? This is so important because that it's not. You may think that heart means like compassion. This is not the connotation. Finally, what we have is that we have the body and the mind, and whatever we're doing is determined by tissue boss. Okay. So the heart. So we have the body and the mind, and our mind, that is to become Buddha. Your mind is going to become Buddha. And this mind, where is it? Where is it? For example, let's say that before COVID, His Holiness the Dalai's main residence. Where is His Holiness' main residence? In Dharamshala. But if you go to Dharamshala, you may not find His Holiness there. His Holiness travel everywhere, traveling. But if you ask, where's your main residence? Dharamshala. So likewise, where's your mind? Your mind travels everywhere. But where's the main residence? At the heart. This is the main residence of the mind. But say, for example, when you see, she's here, he's here. When I see this, I'm using, my mind travels through my eyes. My eyes could see. Oh, now the rain stopped. My ears working. My mind travels to the ears. So it travels to different places, but the main residence is at the heart. So when the person dies, then the mind goes to its main residence at the heart, and it manifests its true nature. True nature. So this is the spot where the Buddha nature is being activated. The true nature of mind is being activated, the heart. So therefore, you are activating the clay-like nature of the mind. When you touch your hand at your heart, just visualize that I'm activating the clay-light nature. The ultimate nature, true nature of mind is known as clay-light. Clay-light mind. I'm activating the seed of the clay-light mind. I'm activating the Buddha nature within my heart. So this is how we have to do. And we do it 3 times. And then some people do, so when people don't know the significance, the reasons, so forth, so people do like 3 times or like 100 times. Can I do 2 times? No, you must do at least 3 times. No, you can do 1 time also, is fine. If you ask them why 3, why not 2, right? They have no answer. But simply because they don't answer, doesn't mean that you have to be contemptuous of them. You have to look down upon them. They are following the tradition. So 3 times is fine, 2 times is fine, 1 fine, 1 is also fine, 10 times is also fine, 100 times is fine, as long as the sense of course you do the more the respect, the more the admiration, the more the merit accumulation happens. Okay. Then why 3? So the standard is 3. Why 3 or 7? Like this. Why? We have to create some standard. For example, the balls, offering balls, we have to create some, the standard. Say what's the distance, and I'm sure some of you who follow your parents, distance must be the size of the seed, right? size of sea. It shouldn't be bigger than this. If bigger than this, then the family members will be scattered. You accumulate negative karma. If they're too attached, then you accumulate negative karma. That so they should be very standard. No, there's no standard there. We have to create some standard. If you don't create standard, some people offer the water ball, the two balls separated by 1 meter, then you don't get space, right? And some people attach it, and then the water spills, right? You have to create some standard. So, and some people, they're not really smart, right? Generally, the average people not really too smart. So you have to create standard. Okay, let's say they say how much water should I put, right? It's fine. Half is also fine. Full is also fine. But some people, when they're full, then they spill, right? And then they spill. So no, the standard is like this. Then people take the standard. So standard has to be created when we're working in a community. So standard has to be created. So therefore, so how much? And some say we have a prayer to do, right? Or before that being prostration, and somebody is done 3 times at the wait, and somebody is doing 100 times. So all others are waiting, right? So what should, right? Hey, hurry up! What? I'm making prostrations. First, big prostrations. 2 is fine. No, I do 100. No, so some standards are created so that there's no the lack of synchrony. So the synchrony has to be created in community. For that matter, we have to create some standard. Okay, so this is prostrations. And light offerings, I already explained this, and there are a few who came a little later. What is light? And even when making prostrations, light offerings is for all these thank you. Okay, so for the light offering, or making prostrations, or doing any virtues, one way by which to make the virtues extremely effective is to think of not only yourself making prostrations, not only yourself offering lights, but your 2 parents, your family members, and all the sentient beings with you. If you think of that, then they say one person doing it, an infinite number of people doing it, it's just the benefit multiplies. One person do it, one benefit. Infinite people do it, infinite benefits. So just with your, skillful thinking, the one act of making prostrations, you just get the benefit of like infinity. Likewise, you imagine that all the sentient beings are making prostrations with you. And particularly your parents, your family members, your children, and they're all making prostration with you. And you inspire them, they inspire, they start doing that. This is so important. So that later on, when you practice bodhicitta, you will see the dawn of the bodhicitta within you. That the bodhicitta is generated very quickly. Very, very quickly doesn't mean that within 1 year, 1 day, 2 days, and so forth. Otherwise, it would take like maybe 10 lifetimes, 20 lifetimes, so forth. Within a single lifetime, you can generate bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is to embrace everybody. Embrace everybody. And in every act, you're embracing everybody. Deliberately bringing every being with you in prostrations, every being with you to make offering lights and so forth. So everything is included. So you are doing this exercise. Like a therapy, physiotherapy. Do this exercise, and your mind is being exercised to embrace everybody, not to reject. And so that way, you see that these are skills. And then make offerings of light, not just one offering, one light. You imagine you are just offering millions, trillions of lights to the millions, trillions of bodhisattvas, and then who offers? yourself and all the infinite sentient beings are offering the lights together. Okay, these are things to keep in mind, and that is good that all of us. First, of course, we need to know the reason why we are doing these things, and then how many of you, when you have, say, some illness, when you take the medicines, you check what is the ingredient, how it helps. How many of you do that? Say the chemicals, what are the chemicals there, which chemical helps which. You do check it?
Recently, with all this information available on the internet and mistrust with a lot of
no, that is it. For example, like paracetamol, right? What are the chemicals there? And the chemical came from which country, which place? Okay, so what I'm saying is that don't wait till that I get full information. I'll not practice. You're getting it? By that time you'll die, right? Or till I get the full information, I'll not deposit money in the bank. Right? And then when you need the money, there's no money. Because you are here to deposit anything. So therefore, just keep doing something. It can be like, just get up, make 3 prostrations. Right? Or 3 is very complicated. Then make 2. If 2 is complicated, do it 1. If 1 is also difficult, then just fold your hands. Do something. Just do something. And then say, and if you say that 3 is very complicated, then the 3 breakfasts are very complicated, right? And these are the rationalities that we need to challenge. It's actually self-centered attitude, which is looking for excuses. You can challenge self-centered attitude. How many times you had breakfast? If you're in 20 plus 365 times breakfast. When did you complain yourself? Oh, every day I have to serve breakfast to myself. How many you complain to? Never, right? You have to challenge your self-centered attitude like this. When self-centered tells you that, 3, should I really do 3? Should I really bend down myself? Right? Then tell yourself, say every day you have been going to breakfast? Did you complain? This is how you challenge your self-centered attitude. Okay, so if you have to do something, and then offering water balls. How many balls are there? 7 balls. Why 7? Why not 8? Why not 3? Why not 6? Why not 1? It can be 1 also, it's fine. Some say, no, it must be 7. Right? 8? No, it must be 7. If you want to make it more, 14. 7 into 2, it should be 7, 7, 7. No, not at all. Then why 7? Again, standardization. We have to make some standard. Otherwise, we're going to have a retreat. And for this, we need, tapala. You prepare you take charge of the balls, offering balls. Then he brings 2,000 balls. No, right? 2,000, we don't have space. And somebody brings very tiny, very tiny ball. Very tiny ball, 1. For the altar, a big altar, only 1 tiny ball. Where's the balls? Where's the offering balls? Where are they? Isn't it right there? Where? They're very tiny. Right? So therefore, there should be some standard. You said that bring the ball, I brought the offering ball there. But this too tiny. You do not say that it should be big. Right? So there should be some standard. You're getting it? So 7, there's a reason there. In the olden times, when you receive the important guests, then you as a host, you offer 8 different items. Of the 8, 1 is music. So music we cannot offer in the balls. So the music taken aside, then it becomes 7. You're getting it? And the why standardization to 7 is because of this, on that basis, on that ground. Otherwise, if you don't have space, in your room for altar, even 1 mug. Usually when I was younger, in my 20s, when I go to the shops, when I see the shops where these mugs are sold, so my eyes would go into, was something which is so beautiful mug, very beautiful cup, beautiful mug, beautiful ball, extremely beautiful one. When my eyes get sight of such thing, I buy this. Although they have only one, the one piece, it's fine. I buy this, and along with the 7, I also offer this. So your mind always somehow directed. This is a practice. Practice of mindfulness. Always remember. Shopping mall means for myself, and the Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Don't always think like this. The first thing that you should come to, so from this, what can I buy for all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas? That thought, be always directed. So this is how you energize your mind. This was a merit accumulation. Then once that is done, then you can think of anything else. Whatever you like to buy for yourself, buy. Okay. This is it about the making offerings and so forth, the standardization and so forth. And then, I have no space for 7 balls, so therefore I don't offer. No, even 1 ball is also fine. And if people complain that, what are you doing? This is something this never happened, 1 ball offering, right? Say that Geshe Dorji Damdul told us, right? And then only if you go there and he said, yes, I'm wrong, then I'll change it. Till that point, I'll not change. Right? When I get bigger space, I'll change it to 7. When it's still bigger space, for 8, I'll make it 8. Right? Okay, this is how we should proceed. Good. Okay, now we'll turn to page 3. I think from tomorrow we will, better would be to come at 6:30. 6:30, right? And because that we have to make prostration for 5 minutes, or make prostrations 3 times. And otherwise, in many retreats, we do prostration for 5 minutes with playing the Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, and then the offering lights. Okay, then let's turn to page 3. Okay, setting a proper motivation. Which consists of 3 parts: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of this practice. Refuge field, what to visualize and how to visualize. Let us visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us. And how to visualize them as so loving, caring, and embracing. To each one of you, Bodhicitta of the field, visualize your 2 grandparents, all of family members, including children, and everyone here in Tursamling, the animals, insects. How many trillions of insects are around us? Let us all visualize them with us. And all the sentient beings in India, in your own country, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. And the purposes of practice, and how to visualize them, that you are like the mother and all others are like children. And you are looking at them with so much love, affection, embrace, and care. And the purpose of this practice is to attain the state of ultimate goodness for yourself and ultimate goodness for others. What is that? That is by awakening the seed of perfection within you, known as the Buddha nature. And we have this potential Buddha energy inside. Why we don't see them is because they are obscured by the mud, like the gold obscured the mud, although the nature of the gold is to glow. But you don't see it glowing, not because of the absence of the gold, but because of being obscured by the mud. So how do we know that there's gold there? Remove the mud, and the gold, you don't have to bring gold from outside. The gold inside will glow on its own. Remove the mud, we do see that, yes, my compassion grows, my wisdom grows, my potential, the power grows. And what are the two obscurations? Given that we seek two goals, the fearlessness and infinite happiness, and the seeds of which are there present within us, and why they are not visible, because there are two obscurations. One is the afflictive obscurations, and the other one is cognitive obscurations. The afflictive obscuration, which is the grosser one, the presence of which stops us from experiencing fearlessness, which is technically known as nirvana. And the subtle one, known as cognitive obscurations, the presence of which stops you from attaining the infinite happiness, they technically referred to as Buddhahood. And how to remove them, how to remove these obscurations? By applying the remedy. What is the remedy? The liberating path, the only liberating path, lies in the wisdom of emptiness. Wisdom, particularly the wisdom of emptiness. And this must be complemented by the very powerful motivation bodhicitta, the method and wisdom. So, create a very strong desire to attain Buddhahood, awaken the seed of perfection for the benefit of all ultimate sentient beings. Let's take a few seconds to invoke the spirit, may I become Buddha. When you say may I become Buddha, you are saying that may I activate the seed of Buddhahood, seed of Buddha nature within me, for the benefit of yourself and for the benefit of all ultimate sentient beings. Okay, with this in mind, imagine that you are leading this practice and all the dear sentient beings are with you and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that they're watching us. Page 3. Enthused by great compassion, you taught them accurate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught them accurate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught them accurate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sanje joda zoge chonam na chanjo ban. Sanje joda zoge chonam. Dola penjere sanye jubare jo, sanye joda soge chonam la, chanjo pardo dane gyabsuch, dage jinso gebe sonam ge, dola penjere sanye jubare jo. I go for refuge and tell them enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all leads here is seeking pacific complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrants to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue us expound varieties of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you are my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, and who eternal chance for the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I chant the amount of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham datha gato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam Metum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam Hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The sensation causes as well as taught by the greats here. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite. Such is the natural Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the woods. Pure utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unseen and has the nature of space, is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times of your obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are nature of suffering. All phenomena are nature of emptiness, selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. A go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove the miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the sustenance that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, we will read page 42, the foundation of all good qualities. This is the roadmap, page 42. This is a roadmap to enlightenment. It is just 14 verses, and in these 14 verses we see that what to practice, how things become so clear to us, and we just lead a life on the basis of these 14 verses. If that happens, that every moment is being used for you to tread on the path to enlightenment or traverse towards enlightenment. Okay, and the meanings are very clear, self-explanatory, and where necessary, the footnotes are also added. You try to look for the footnotes of these specific meanings. The foundation of all good qualities by Lama Tsongkhapa. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the perfect rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes essence. This life is this impermanent water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After that, just like a shadow follows the body, the result of virtues, non-virtues come or follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is road to all suffering. Recognize all shortcomings. Please bless me generate a strong wish for the blissful liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. just as I've fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all other migratory beings. Please bless Buddha say there's training in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distraction to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate clearly within my mind stream the unified path of karma abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the true attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to practice these vows in pleasure in my life. Imposing of the 2 stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never give up the 4 sessions. Please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, I enjoy the manifested Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages of the paths, I could attain the state of Vajradhara. Okay, we'll recite this maximum mantra together first, the English followed by the Tibetan. Okay. This mantra is actually the praise to Lama Tsongkhapa. And what we are studying, Bodhicitta, emptiness. So the fine-tuning, they were all on the basis of what Lama Tsongkhapa taught, so we'll recite it. And in fact, this was originally composed by himself. Not to praise himself, but to praise his teacher, Jesu Shinulutu, Jesu Rendava Shinulutu. And Jesu Rendava, Lama Tsongkhapa, what he did was that he was seeing his teacher in the light of the 3 perfect qualities of the Buddhas: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and the perfect power. And these 3 perfect qualities, they manifested in the form of 3 bodhisattvas. Aravalokteshvara, the perfect love; Manjushri, the perfect wisdom; and Vajrabhani, the perfect power. So he equated his teacher in the light of these 3 perfect bodhisattvas, saying that you have perfected the quality of the wisdom, of compassion, the way Aravalokteshvara did. You are Aravalokteshvara. You are a Manjushri who perfected the quality of the wisdom, and you are Vajrapani who has perfected the quality of the power. And then his teacher, Jesu Rendava Shinulutu, he read what was written there, and then Lama Tsongkhapa added his teacher's name there, and he erased his name and put Lama Tsongkhapa's name, his student's name, saying that this praise fits better with you than me. And then it became so widely chanted all over Tibet. So we'll first say this in English, and then we'll say this in Tibetan 3 times. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of the snows, Losang Taba, at your feet I make prostrations. Okay, we'll say the Tibetan. Myo myo sewe te je re se che me kembe wombo jambe yam. And then we skip the 3rd one. We skip the 3rd line just to accommodate the melody. Kanje kebe tso ge tso gaba lo sa ta be sha la so wa de me